Welcome to my film review of Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, or we could call it Fast and Furious number 9. So this is a standalone Fast and Furious movie involving Hobbs and Shaw, Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. So two absolute blockbuster characters come together in this movie. So if you've seen the trailer, you'll very much know what the gist of the movie is about. You've probably seen the trailer like me 10 billion times. It's on every time you go to the cinema, so I've kind of stopped watching it after a while because I didn't want to know too much of what was going on. And the one thing I did remember from the movie was obviously the fact that Hobbs and Shaw might not particularly be the best of buddies, and that is very much the theme throughout the movie. So think of this movie as an attempted comedy. It's definitely trying its best to be funny, and it's okay, you know, it's humorous. It's your typical man kind of toughness, you know, trying to act hard, you know, which kind of wears thin, but you know, it's two pretty charismatic actors in Dwayne Johnson and Statham, so they kind of get away with it, and it's okay. But I think it possibly detracts from the story itself, maybe. I don't know. I guess on the whole, I'm probably not a huge fan of this movie. No, I'm not. It's not that I'm not a huge fan. It's okay, but it's just okay. I think that's the problem. The Fast and Furious movies appealed to me like crazy. When the first movie came out, what was it, like 2000? I was like, you know, a teenage boy mad into his cars. I still am now. And the Fast and the Furious movies were all about sexy, you know, souped up, modified cars. And we've kind of lost that now. Calling it Fast and Furious is only doing one thing, and that's, you know, living off the franchise name. It's not actually really holding true to what started this franchise. You know, there's machinery, there's awesome vehicles involved in the movie, as there has been the last few Fast and Furious movies, but the car element was very much missing, really, in this one, I would say. Don't get me wrong, you know, you see a couple of nice cars, well, maybe one, to be fair, but no, it's not what the original movies were about. It's very much just a The Rock movie, Dwayne Johnson and Statham. And they play on that. It's going to attract a lot of people. A lot of people are going to go and see this movie. There's no question about it. So I'm not going to talk too much about this movie. What I'm going to tell you is, you know, stuff at the end, hanging around. Is it worth hanging around? Blah, blah, blah. All that kind of stuff. The stuff that you might miss. So on the whole, this movie was just okay. I'm not going to lie. There was early on in the movie, I was thinking I was maybe feeling a little bit bored, mind wandering, but then around about the halfway mark, I started to buy into it a little bit more. I got a little bit more gripped, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm starting to enjoy this a little bit now. And then towards kind of the last third of the movie, I quite enjoyed that. We had a big scene change, we went elsewhere, and I enjoyed that. It was to my cup of tea, the third section, so I kind of enjoyed as the movie picked up pace. But one thing that did annoy me, and this has always annoyed me about the Fast and Furious movies, is, you know, when they're having a race and all of a sudden he needs to get past him and, oh, now I'm going to change gear. I've had this extra gear here this whole time, but I was only ever going to use it at the last minute. And you're like, that's just stupid. If you'd have had that gear, you know, just like all these different gear changes, and it's kind of annoying. And while it isn't that happens in this movie, it's a similar thing that really bugs the hell out of me. I really want to talk about it, but I don't know how I can without it being a spoiler. But it's a bit at the end, towards the end of the movie, and it's similar to the gear change. It's like, if you had that gear there to change into in the first place, why not do it straight away? Why wait until kind of it's too late, almost, sort of thing. So you'll know which bit I mean. It's one of the final sequences, and as soon as you watch it, you're going to think, okay, it's a movie. I know they're not going to be 100% realistic, but straight away you think, immediately, that is so unrealistic. Maybe you don't know much about the particular physics of the things involved, but I'm pretty sure anybody with any kind of common sense would know straight away, oh my god, that is so unrealistic. And then it kind of proves how unrealistic it was as the scene develops, and therefore it just makes the beginning of the scene even more utterly ludicrous, because it kind of, as the scene develops, it proves what you were thinking at the beginning about how unrealistic it was. It proves how unbelievably unrealistic it was by the end of the scene. And it's just like, it's almost like they were trying to come up with an idea and they thought, oh, here's a cool idea. This is macho, petrol-heady type cool idea. What would they do on Top Gear? What crazy idea would Top Gear do? I know. And then they haven't really thought about how realistic it was. And then someone's gone, hey guys, hang on a minute, that is so ridiculously unrealistic. Oh, but it's such a cool idea. We have to have it in. Oh, I know what we can do to make it realistic. We'll develop the scene like this. It doesn't make it it doesn't let you get away with it. It just cements the fact that the idea in the first place was ludicrous. So once that happened, I started like really slagging the movie off a little bit in my head. You know what I mean? It was one of those scenes that you just couldn't let it get away with. Like a little bit of unrealisticness, you'd be like, yeah, we'll let that slide. It was one of those where you just couldn't. It was ludicrous. So that annoyed me a little bit. But on the whole, you know, it's very much what you see in the trailer is what you get, and it's not a hugely memorable film, but it's okay. I was going to give it a 7.7 out of 10, but I don't know if that's been a bit too generous. You see, the thing is, I love Dwayne Johnson, I love Jason Statham, and you know, it was an enjoyable movie to watch at the cinema. But I'm thinking if you sat at home watching that on a smaller screen, you might be scoring it maybe 1 point less. So I think it's the kind of movie where you do definitely need to see it at the cinema to get the most out of it. If it's the kind of movie that you're going to go on a Friday, Saturday night and pay full price, you know, take your partner, spend 20 odd quid, go in the 4DX seat, spend 30 quid, or the IMAX, I think you're going to be thinking, do you know what, I'm not sure if that was worth it. So my advice would be, you know you want to see this movie at the cinema, there's no question, but I'd say get it on the cheap. Go on a buy one get one free day. You know, I would rather see Spider-Man in IMAX or in the more expensive seats than this. Actually, it would probably be cool in the 4DX. You know, I just took my niece to see Lion King in the 4DX, and that was really good. Depends on how you feel about spending money. It's pretty darn pricey for a okay movie, for an average movie. Not the best movie, but if you're a Fast and the Furious fan and you love Dwayne Johnson and Statham, it's definitely one that you're gonna kind of enjoy. But it's just not brilliant, which is a bit disappointing, really. I think that's what's a little bit sad about it. But it's fine, it's okay, definitely worth a watch. Just get yourself to the cinema to see it. But my tip would be see it on the cheap. And what am I going to give it out of 10? It's getting a 7. It's at least getting a 7. Do I give it a 7.5, 7.2? I might just give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I've kind of downgraded it in my head a little bit. 7 out of 10. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. It's a okay movie. Yeah, it's okay. I've just remembered as well, I actually thought that there was going to be somebody involved in this movie that isn't, so definitely didn't go in the direction I might have thought. Maybe I saw a untrue spoiler that wasn't a spoiler in the end because it wasn't true. Oh, good news about the movie. There's 2 characters in this that you're going to love. They're not in the movie, they're not in the trailer. Sorry, they're not in the trailer. I had no idea that they were going to be in this movie. 2 characters that I absolutely love in the movies. They're not, you know, they're not main characters in the movie, but they're in the movie, and that put a big smile on my face. I was like, oh yay, they're in it. So that's a nice little surprise. Obviously you'll find out who those 2 are, and it adds some enjoyment to the movie. God, I feel harsh giving it a 7 now. Maybe I'm going to sneak it up to 7.3 just because, you know, it's a good movie to see at the cinema. If you're watching it at home, it's probably like a 6.5, but as a go to the cinema movie, it's a 7.3. That's what I'm going to score it as. Now, this is a movie that's on for 136 minutes. I did notice from the, you know, listing on Cineworld. But when the movie finishes, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this has only been on 2 hours, or was it 2 hours and 1 minute technically? I always keep an eye on my watch for the end sequences for you guys, so I can let you know about the end sequences. And to give you an idea, as soon as the movie finished, people were going out. Almost like they couldn't wait to get out the door. And I've seen this on, it's Thursday today, the opening night, the 1st of August, so today is the first day of its release. So, you know, the cinema was reasonably full, quite a few people in there, and quite a lot of people were keen to get up there and leave. Now that annoys me like crazy, because I think to myself, did you just hate the movie, or have you got somewhere else more important to be? Because if you've got somewhere else more important to be, why on earth are you going to the cinema, you know? You know the movie is on for 2 hours and 15 minutes. If you're not willing to give the movie its full 2 hours and 15 minutes, why on earth are you going to see it in the first place? It's crazy. It's like going to a football match and leaving at 80 minutes. You know it's a 90-minute football match. Why are you leaving at 80 minutes? It makes no sense to me. No sense at all. You know, either you're not enjoying the game, you're not enjoying the movie, or you're just stupid. Why go? Why pay to go and see something and then leave before it ends? It makes no sense. It really annoys me. So, the end sequence is obvious that there's an end sequence coming. Firstly, if you look at your clock, you'll see it's only been on 2 hours and there's another 15 minutes worth of the movie still to go. And also, when the movie kind of ends and the name credits start coming up, you know, names flashing on the screen, there is still video clips playing and rolling along the screen. There is still physically movie happening. It's not like it's just some black boring screen or even still animations. It is literally movie clips playing out, and people are getting up and leaving. And to me, it was so obvious that there was more to come, even regardless of knowing that there was 15 minutes of footage left. You know, it was just so obvious that there was more to come. So my tip is at least wait 5 minutes, because during that 5-minute spell there are at least 2 additional sequences that fully play out, where the name tags and everything completely vanish and you just get 100% screen again on one element of what's happening. In fairness, I don't feel like any of the end sequences were massively, oh my god, it's like Spider-Man, you've got to wait around for the end, it is so important. Really, they weren't important at all. But if you're like me, you're a movie hardcore fan and you want to experience everything the director intended on giving to you, then you have, within the 5 minutes of the movie ending, you have at least 2 sequences. And then after that 5-minute spell, it's just black credits with the names rolling, and then it is like 10 minutes until the very end. No, there's 2 that cut in halfway through, I think, or is it just 1? Well, anyway, you've got to wait another 10 minutes of just boring credits. So get your phone out, do what I did, do something on your phone, keep yourself entertained for 10 minutes, and when the absolute last bit where it says Quebec and all that, the very last bit comes up, 2019 copyright, once that comes up, bang, you get your additional sequence. And it wasn't hugely important, it wasn't hugely brilliant, but if you want to be like me and absorb every last bit of the movie, then hang around until the very, very end, because there is that one last sequence. I think there was about 3 in all, so there you go, hang around till the end. You know there's these additional sequences. They're okay. They're, you know, the ones within the first 5 minutes are definitely worth hanging around for. They were quite humorous. Yeah, definitely. The one at the very, very end, I mean, if you've got to be somewhere, maybe, but I would watch them all. Why not? You've paid to go to the cinema, or if you're like me, Cineworld, you can go for free for as many movies as you want for a fixed fee each month. It's the way to go. Why wouldn't you do that? So yeah, hang around till the end. I'm giving the movie a 7.3 out of 10. It's okay. It's definitely one to see at the cinema. There's not a great deal out. I've seen everything that's out right now, and this, you know, just come out today, and it's okay. But the next time I go to the cinema, it is probably going to be to see Spider-Man for a second time. That is by far the best movie out. So also check out my review of Lion King if you're thinking about going and seeing that. And other than that, thanks for listening to this review. I think I've covered everything I wanted to talk about, and we will see you on the next review. Goodbye.